Imagine being the most famous person in the world. Every move you make gets recorded. Every word that slips out of your mouth can become international news within minutes. You have millions of people who adore you. But at the same time, you barely have room to just be an ordinary human being. That's what happened to Jeon Jungkook, the youngest member and one of the most iconic faces of BTS. In the early hours of the morning, at a time most people would be fast asleep, Jungkook went live on Weverse. No script, no PR team shaping his words. Just him, a drink in hand, his older brother, a close friend, and millions of army watching in real time. And in less than an hour and a half, the K-pop world was thrown into chaos. That video has since been deleted, but its traces have already spread across every corner of the internet, sparking a long debate over one big question: how far is an idol allowed to just be themselves in front of the public? In this video we're breaking it all down. What Jungkook actually said, why it became such a controversy, and most importantly, what we can learn about the hidden pressure behind a K-pop idol's smile. Before we get into it, if this is your first time on the channel, hit subscribe so you don't miss future updates on the K-pop world. Alright, let's get into the story. It all started in the early hours of the morning, Korean time, around 3:30 AM. Most of the world was sound asleep, but not Jungkook. He opened the live stream on Weverse, the official communication platform between idols and fans. At first, the mood felt relaxed, warm, even cheerful. Jungkook appeared with his older brother and a close friend he's currently living with. They sang together, joked around a little, just like any ordinary late-night hangout. But who would have guessed that this casual session would slowly turn into a moment far more personal, and far bolder than anything we'd ever seen from a BTS member before. The broadcast lasted somewhere between 88 and 90 minutes. And throughout that time, Jungkook peeled back, one layer at a time, everything that's usually kept neatly hidden behind the image of a flawless idol. He talked about a smoking habit he'd been trying to quit. He talked about the exhaustion of always having to appear ideal. And he talked about something K-pop idols rarely admit out loud: a relationship with his own agency that's weighed down by pressure. There's one moment from that broadcast that immediately spread across social media, got translated into multiple languages, and was picked up by major outlets including the Korea Times. Jungkook expressed his wish to live more honestly in front of his fans, while acknowledging there are limits he simply can't cross. He asked, almost rhetorically, to himself and to the millions watching that night, how many people in this world can actually be honest with everyone around them? He said he wanted to be honest with ARMY, and admitted that if it weren't for his responsibility to the company, he probably would have already told them everything. Sit with that for a second. This isn't just casual venting. This is a confession from someone who's been an idol since his teenage years, who grew up in front of a camera, and who's realized that honesty, something as basic as it gets for any human being, has become a luxury for him. Think about it. Something as simple as saying what you feel actually has to be carefully weighed, because it could affect the agency, the brand, the comeback, even the reputation of the entire group. One of the most talked about parts of the broadcast was when Jungkook admitted he'd been a smoker for quite a while, and had been working hard to quit. He mentioned that he's now turning 30, and how he'd committed to breaking the habit. What's interesting is that he was fully aware this wasn't a small admission. He said he was worried that the moment those words came out, the agency would likely react strongly. He even made clear that what he said that night wasn't something discussed with the company beforehand. It was an outburst that came from sheer frustration. This is where we start to see a different side of a major idol. Not the always controlled, always perfect figure we usually see on stage, in music videos, or at fan meetings. But a human being who's tired of holding back, and who, for a moment, chose to stop pretending. One of the most touching parts of the broadcast was when Jungkook explained why he feels so restricted, compared to if he were just a solo musician. He said that being part of something as massive as the K-pop phenomenon means he has to be far more careful with every word he says. If he were just an independent artist making music on his own, he probably wouldn't think twice about saying whatever he wanted. But the reality is, he's part of one of the biggest music groups in the world. Every sentence he says doesn't just represent himself. It carries the name of BTS, Hybe, and the expectations of millions of army around the globe. This is a burden we often forget when we idolize someone. We see the stage, the spotlights, the flawless choreography, the smile that never seems to fade, but we rarely see how heavy it is to carry expectations that size, every single day, for years, since an age most people haven't even reached adulthood yet. As the night went on, the mood of the broadcast started to shift. Jungkook's tone became more emotional. At one point, he let out some frustrated language in English, a release of feelings he'd likely been holding in for a long time. There was a moment where another voice could be heard in the room, seemingly trying to calm him down or stop the stream. Jungkook himself asked out loud whether the people around him thought the company was going to be furious about what he was saying that night. And when several fans in the comments started asking him to end the stream, probably out of concern, he responded pretty firmly. He questioned why people were telling him to turn it off, and made it clear he just wanted to live life on his own terms. That moment is exactly what sparked the biggest debate on social media. Some fans felt Jungkook's behavior that night, including a less than polite gesture he made on camera, wasn't quite appropriate for someone in his position, given the millions of fans across all age groups who look up to him. They worried the clip could be misunderstood, especially by younger fans. But another group of fans saw it completely differently. To them, this was solid proof that Jungkook, despite being seen as one of the most polished idols in the industry, is still just a human being. He has emotions, he has a breaking point, and every once in a while, he needs to take off the mask of perfection he has to wear every single day. A lot of them actually felt closer to Jungkook after this moment, not because of the controversy itself, but because of his honesty. Some fans even expressed gratitude that he trusted them enough to show a side of himself that's rarely seen. This debate really reflects something much bigger than just one late-night livestream. It's about how society, and the entertainment industry as a whole, tends to treat public figures as if they're not allowed to have a bad day, not allowed to be tired, not allowed to show even a little bit of frustration. To understand why this moment carries so much weight, it helps to zoom out a bit. Jungkook debuted with BTS at a very young age. Since then, almost his entire life has existed under public scrutiny. Every comeback, every interview, even everyday activities often become widely discussed topics online. As the youngest member, he's often called the Golden Maknae, a nickname reflecting just how multi-talented he is, from singing to dancing to countless other skills. But behind that seemingly flattering title lies an enormous amount of pressure to always appear flawless, every single time. This late-night livestream happened during an important stretch for BTS, right in the middle of preparations for the group's comeback with their newest album. That means media and public attention on every member is currently at an all-time high. That timing alone makes Jungkook's words hit that much harder than if this had happened during a quieter period. As of this recording, there's been no official statement from the agency regarding the incident. That silence itself has fueled plenty of speculation among fans, whether the agency will take firm action, or choose to let this moment pass as simply a human side of being an idol. Stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, Jungkook's story that night isn't really an isolated case. It's a reflection of a much wider issue within the K-pop industry. Many idols live under an extremely packed schedule starting from their teenage years. Years of intense training as trainees, promotional schedules with almost no breaks, the pressure to always look perfect on camera, and the demand to maintain a certain image to protect the group's popularity and commercial value. All of that happens while carrying a psychological weight that's rarely discussed openly. Idols are expected to look happy even on their hardest days. They're expected to keep smiling even when they're emotionally drained. And worst of all, they often don't get much room to simply be themselves without fear of being judged by millions of watching eyes. That's what makes Jungkook's moment that night feel so valuable and so sad at the same time. Valuable, because for a moment, we got to see the human side of someone we usually only know through the stage and the screen. Sad, because the fact that he had to wait until 3 in the morning, relaxed and surrounded by the people closest to him, just to finally be a little honest about what he was really feeling. Setting aside the debate over how it was expressed, there are a few things worth reflecting on from this moment. First, behind the perfect smile we see on stage, there's an ordinary human being with feelings, exhaustion, and limits just like the rest of us. Idols aren't robots programmed to be happy all the time. They have bad days too, moments of exhaustion, and a need to stop pretending every once in a while. Second, the entertainment industry, wherever it operates, whether in Korea or anywhere else, needs to keep evaluating how to better protect the mental health of the talent within it. Fame and a big paycheck don't automatically make someone immune to psychological pressure. Third, as fans or consumers of entertainment content, it's important for us to give idols room to be human. That doesn't mean excusing every unfiltered behavior, but rather understanding that behind the incredible work they put out, there's a long and heavy process most of us never get to see. As of this video, the original live stream has already been taken down from Weverse. But clips of it have spread across other social media platforms and continue to be discussed by entertainment media both internationally and locally. The big question on a lot of ARMY's minds right now is how will Hybe and Bigot Music respond going forward? Will they issue a clarification or will they choose not to address it directly and simply let time settle things? Either way, this moment has already become part of Jungkook's long journey as both an idol and an ordinary human being, someone constantly trying to balance two very different worlds, the glittering world of the stage and the private world of pressure that most people never get to see. So that's the full story behind Jungkook's viral moment that night. A reminder that behind every smile we see on that massive stage, there's a long quiet struggle that rarely makes it out into the open. For those of you who made it to the end, what do you think? Are you on the side that supports Jungkook's honesty that night? Or do you feel there are boundaries a public figure should still hold on to? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to hear your perspective on this. If you found this video helpful, drop a like, subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest K-pop updates, and turn on notifications so you're always the first to know when something important happens. Thanks for watching until the end. See you in the next video.